Hello, trumpet players, and this applies to high school students as well as other people, but I'm thinking about this because of the high school students. Let's talk about what you can do beyond your all-state music. So I was working with today a trumpet student who is working on the All-State Jazz Etudes. And it reminded me of a lesson I had with my last teacher, Dick Schaefer, Richard Schaefer. At the time, Schaefer was helping me to become an orchestral trumpet player. That's what I wanted. Up until I didn't want it anymore. um, that's what I wanted. I was in school to be an orchestral trumpet player. I wanted to play jazz on the side. And part of the orchestral thing is to prepare auditions. The auditions are a necessary evil that comes with being a musician of pretty much any sort. Um, but it's a little bit more serious. The auditions are a little bit more serious in the orchestra world. And I'd like to use supply and demand as a way to explain that. You've got so few gigs and so many trumpet players. So yes, the auditions are extremely serious. And it's very much similar to AllState in Texas. I don't know how other states are, but there are some people that take AllState in Texas extremely seriously, right? So yes, it's a lot like that, and that's why I'm equating the two. So my trumpet teacher, my last trumpet teacher, the guy that was helping me to become an orchestral player, instead of working on the excerpts out of the excerpt books, he went out of his way to make sure that I had original parts. And the way he explained it to me was that uh, they're not looking for somebody who can play the excerpts. And I'm not gonna say it the way he said it because I've had a lot of time to think about all of that stuff. I think I'm gonna interpret what he said this way. They're not looking for someone who can play the excerpts. They're looking for somebody who is part of that culture. Now, he didn't say it that way, but this is how I see it today. He might, and if he watches this, if Mr. Schaefer watches this today, I'm gonna ask him to tell me one way or the other if he agrees with me or not. But that's how I see it today. It's basically almost the same thing he said. Because they're not looking for someone that can play that part. They're looking for someone who understands the whole piece, not just the trumpet part, by the way. There are a lot of trumpet players, very serious trumpet players for the orchestra auditions that study the full score, not just a little 8-measure piece that the trumpet has that's going to show up on the auditions. Now, how do we apply that to AllState? If all you're doing is trying to play the notes, trying to play the right rhythms, trying to play the, even if the way you approach it is, I want to take it to the next level and play it more musically. I want to take it to the next level and do the right vibrato and have the right articulation and all that stuff. you're still missing the point. You're still not part of that culture. You want to be first chair AllState. Now, let me be clear about this. I'm not talking about the people who don't want to be first chair. If all you want to do is audition and maybe you win, maybe you don't win, this doesn't apply to you. Just do whatever you do. I always fashion my teaching to the people who want to be successful. So if you're one of those that wants to make AllState and while you're at AllState, why not make first chair? If you're one of those, it's not good enough to play well. You need to be part of the culture. How do you become part of the culture? Number one is the listening. You listen to band music, you listen to trumpet music. I think brass quintets are a great way to get that listening because the trumpets are exposed. There's a trumpet group called Trombomundi. I recommend listening to their recordings as well. But let's go beyond just the listening. So now it's a little weird for me to talk about this right now because I wrote the 3 Etudes, right? So don't. What I would normally say is research the composer. In this case, I don't want you researching me. So what you do is research the composer of the tune that I wrote the etude for, right? So the first tune is Take the A Train. Do some research into the song Take the A Train. Do some research. And when I say research, I'm talking about reading. If all you do is read the Wikipedia page, that's better than nothing. Read about Billy Strayhorn and Duke Ellington in the context of Take the A Train. Read about, I think the second song is Summertime. That's right, Summertime. Read about Summertime. Read about the guy who wrote it, which is the same guy that wrote I Got Rhythm and all that. Rhapsody in Blue, I think he wrote that. Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, read about that guy. Look up Summertime and his name will come up. One of those old-time composers. Now, and then do some research. How did that become a jazz standard? Read about Cantaloupe Island and Herbie Hancock. The more you dig into the history, the personalities, the how these things are done today, the more you dig into that stuff, the deeper into the culture you get. And then take it another step. Go see a live performance, a live jazz performance. You're getting deeper and deeper and deeper into that culture, the jazz culture. And it's not just any jazz culture, by the way. There is a jazz education culture as well. Okay? So this, why am I saying all this? Because I'm putting into practice what Dick Schaefer taught me. But I'm putting it into practice in my teaching. Right? Don't just learn that little thing that you have to learn and hope that's good enough for you to be the best. That's not the best. You know, I have a student right now who is taking such a deep, deep dive into the jazz idiom, into the jazz style. Wow. Wow. And he's not even at HSPVA, right? Do you expect that from a guy at the HSPVA? Right? Because so many great players have come out of that school. He's not even at that school. You know? And it's just exciting for me to see how how deep of a dive he's taken into that studying the music and understanding it and getting the history and all that stuff. Very exciting for me to see that. And he's not just trying to play the notes. He's not just trying to, like I said earlier, a lot of people think they're doing a great job if they can play it musically. A lot of people think they're doing a great job if they can add expression and phrases and play the right style. I'm telling you that if all of that is just mechanics, this is why people walk away from the audition saying, oh, it was rigged, it was rigged. Because they're just thinking mechanically, they're not part of that culture. And this is very, very important. Very, very important. Dig deeper. Don't just learn the etudes. Unless that's all you want. Now, I do have students. Let me be clear about that. I'm not saying that every student I have is serious. I'm quite happy to teach students that don't really care to make AllState. They'll try, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, okay? And usually when you're like that, it doesn't work out, right? But they don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with teaching students like that, really. And I mean that seriously, okay? I don't need to only teach serious students. That doesn't mean that the way I teach them assumes they want anything less than the best. What I teach them is still top-notch stuff. They're the ones that choose not to do it or to spread it out or whatever. I don't change my teaching if someone's less serious. So what I was saying earlier is I wasn't saying I only teach serious students. Because I don't want you to give you the impression that every student I have is gun-ho, I'm going to make first chair AllState. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that I treat everybody as if they are that serious without making them frustrated. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. All right, that's what I have for you this time. God bless you. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.